Welcome to my channel, everyone. Thanks for stopping by again. Yes, in today's class we'll be doing a lot of teaching. Then I want to appreciate those that have been liking and subscribing to my channel. Thank you. You are the reason I'm still here. Yeah, so in today's class we'll be learning how to sew, how to draft, cut and sew a female shirt. So let's get started. When you want to cut a female shirt, the very first thing you want to do is to, first of all, you create your guideline, both side and the upside of it. Then the very first thing you want to do is to first of all mark 2.5 inches. That's for the button line where it's going to lap. So we'll be marking 2.5 inch like this. Then I'll connect it. So after marking our 2.5 inches, we are going to be marking all our lines. So the bust line, I'm working with bust line of 10 inches. So we have 10 inches here. I have the waistline of 17 inches. It's here. Then the full length is 23 inches. How do you get your full length? The full length, the hip, then you minus either 2 or 3 inches from the hip. But if the person wants the shirt to be long as the hip length, then you can just use your hip length. But I prefer minusing 2 or 3 inches from it. So the hip length of this cloth is 26 inches. So minus 3, I'm going to use 23 inches. Then I'll be adding 1.5 inches for the sewing allowance. So here we have it here. I'm going to mark it on this other side before I connect it. So we have 10 inches, 17 inches, 23 inches, and 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance. Then I'll connect it. So after connecting it, this is what we have. These are our lines. Then we just go ahead and draft our basic pattern, our basic block pattern. There is nothing different. The only difference in shirt and normal block pattern is the 2.5 inch we leave here for the button. So let's continue. So I'm working with shoulder of 15 inches. So shoulder divided by 2, we have 7.5 inches. And remember, we are going to add our sewing allowance of 1/2 inch. So that will be 8 inches. Then we'll mark our neck. I'm going to be using the width of 3.5 inch. For someone that is not too fat, you can just make use of 3 inches. But I'm going to be making use of 3.5 inch here by 3.5 inch. Then I'll connect it. Just like this. Then we'll go to our armhole. We'll come down by 1 inch. After coming down by 1 inch, we'll connect it with the shoulder. Then for the armhole length, I make use of my shoulder. Since I marked 7.5 inch here, so I'm going to be making use of 7.5 inch for the armhole length. 7.5 inch. So for us to have a straight line, we mark 7 8 inches here, so I'm going to be marking 8 inches here too. And you get see this cross sign, so we are going to be connecting it like this, then like this as well. To complete our armhole, we are going to divide this by 2. This is 7.5 divided by 2 is 3.25. So from this 3.25 we'll go in by 1/2 inch here. Then if you don't want to use your French curve to get it perfectly, just measure 1.5 inch here. Then you connect everything. This curve, this line with the armhole, you connect it. So we've gotten our armhole now. So the next thing we'll go to the bust. We are making use of round bust of 41 inches divided by 4. We have 10.25. 10.25. Then we are going to be adding our sewing allowance of 1 inch. Hope you can see that. Then we'll go to our waist as well. We are working with waist 39 inches, so we are having 9.75. That's then divided by 4, that's 9.75. I'll mark it here. Then it's going to be a fitted one, a fitted top. So we are going to be adding 1 inches for our dart. I've added it. Then I'll also be adding 1 inches for our sewing allowance. So we come to the down part of it. Alright, so we'll come to the down part of it. That's the hip line. The normal hip line is 46 inches, but you remember we removed 3 inches from it. So we are not going to be using 46. We are equally going to be removing 3 inches from our hip line. So 46 minus 3 is 43 inches. 43 divided by 4, we have 10.75. 10.75 plus our sewing allowance. Our sewing allowance of 1 inch. So we have it here. So connecting the whole line together, the whole circumference measurement, we are going to be connecting it together. So we have it this way, like this. So this. Then we are working with round armhole of 20 inches. So we have our shirts now. Now the next thing for us is to input our dart. If you are not going to be making a fitted shirt, you don't need to add that, but because I'm doing a fitted shirt, that's why I'm putting that. So for our dart, the bust span is 8 inches, so divided by 2, we are making use of 4 inches here. Four inches too on the bust line. Then to determine the length of our shirt, we have 13 inches here, so we can just come up by 1 inches, so that's 12 inches. So we'll mark our 4 here too, so that we won't just bring it down to this down part of the shirt. So what we'll be doing next, we'll be adding our ½ inch on both sides here, then we'll be connecting it to our dart point at the bust line. Yes, for the bust line, you won't mark you won't connect it to the bust line. You come down by 2 inches here. You come down by 1 inch or 1½ inch here. So this is the point we are making use of. If you want to be sure of it, you can just measure your 4 inches here. So this is where we are going to be connecting it with. And on this other side to connect it like this. Then the down part as well. Remember our 4 inches. We have it here. So we are connecting. So we have our dart imputed here already. So next is to add our sewing allowance to the shoulder, and our sewing allowance here is ½ inch. ½ inch. Then we'll bring it up here. We'll connect it like this. Now, as you can see, now we are through with the drafting. It's just a normal basic block pattern that we've just made. The only difference is here. So now, because I want the shoulder of the front of the shirt to come to the front, to come down to the front, I'm going to be removing 1 inch here. Remember, I have added my sewing allowance already, so I'll be removing 1 inch starting from the sewing allowance. I will be adding it back when we are drafting the back. Just watch and see. So 1 inch from the sewing. I'm measuring from the sewing allowance 1 inch. Then you just connect it like this. So that means we are going to be cutting this off. Hope you understand. So what I'll be doing now is to cut it. Now, before I cut it, this down part, I don't want it plain like this. I'm going to be inputting a curve there. So to add the curve, we'll come up by 2 inches. By 2 inches, or if you wish, you can make use of 1½ Okay, let's make use of 1½ and you just come ahead. For you to get it properly, you can measure the half. The middle of this line, we have 12 inches here, so the middle is 6. Then we'll be connecting our curve there like this. Like this. So that means this sewing allowance we have added, we are going to be connecting it like that. So remember, we come up by 2 inches. So by 2 inches here too. Hope you can see that. And I'll connect it also. So this is our new hemming line. for the shirts. Then the next thing now, what I'll be doing next is to cut. Before we cut, you see this 2.5 inch at the front here, we are going to be folding it inside. That's the right way to curve it and to cut it. Remember, we are cutting this side off the 1 inches we marked earlier. So when you are through cutting, you make sure you have a shape like this at the neck side of it. Do you see? So let's go ahead and draft the back. Okay, so for us to make not to have a lengthy video, so the best way and the shortest way of drafting the back, instead of starting all over again, I just place the front that I just cut out, I place it on another pattern paper. Then I included the neckline, the neck we removed. I will join it back with this, and also the 1 inches we remove on the shoulder, I will join it back, so we'll be able to get our back and make it equal with the front. So it's going to be like this. Then you just trace with your marker. I'll just trace it out like this. Remember the sewing allowance we added? Just like this, to make it equal with the front. So we are done, and I'll remove this, both the neck and the shoulder I added. So we have our back. Remember, we removed 1 inches, that's why we have this gap here. So what we will now do for the back neckline, we will come down by 1 inch. It's going to be different from the front, so by 1 inch. And remember, this is where we added our sewing allowance. So the next thing for us, we'll just connect it. So that is for our back. You can see that I folded it. So what we'll now be doing, because of the 1 inches we remove from the front, we will now be adding it back to our back. So we'll add our 1 inches back to it. Remember, we already have our sewing allowance, so we are not adding another sewing allowance again. So it's just that 1 inches we remove from the front shoulder that we are returning. So you mark your 1 inch like this. Then you connect it like this. Then here, we will be connecting it like this. Make sure it's a curve you are putting here. So our back line is ready. You can see the difference. This is the normal and this is the 1 inch we added. Then I'll be cutting this out as well. Okay, so after cutting it, this is what we have. This is what we have here. So before I remove it, I'll be marking our lines too at the back, so that I'll be able to continue with it. Hold it in place and just, just trace it out. And on this side. So I'll be connecting it. Like this. So this is our back. To input our dart, remember our waistline, 4 inches here. Here. Then for the back, where our dart will start from, it starts from 9 or 10 inches from the back. So for my shirt, I'll be starting making use of 10 inches. Then it's also going to stop 1 inches before the end of before the hemming line. So we'll mark it here, and our 4 inches. So here on this line. So we'll mark our half inch, half on both sides, then we'll connect. So we have our dart included already. So the very last thing we'll now be doing, for you to know how the front and the back will connect because of the shoulder, place your pattern paper equally from the down part. And remember, here on our shoulder we have our sewing allowance. So I'm going to be folding our sewing allowance this way, ½ inch, remember, ½ inch. Then for the back, ½ inch too. So it's going to connect like this. Then you put the ½ inch on top of each other. So for you to know you are right, it's going to fall on where you marked earlier. So can you see? By the time I open it, you can see that the original neckline, you can see it, the original neckline. So it's going to come on it like this. So for us to get a perfect round here, we are going to be using our marker to connect it just like this. So we'll be trimming it out like this. So here we go. So the best thing to do is to notch it so you won't forget, you won't miss it, you won't miss the point. So I'll notch this edge here and this edge so that we'll be able to identify where our shoulder is. This is our new shoulder. This is our new shoulder. You can see that where I notched. So even if you are sewing for a man's wear and you see the shoulder coming out out and falling on the front block, so you should know this is how it's being done and how it is being connected. So if you really like what you are learning, please kindly subscribe and like this video. It's going to go a long way. Please like and subscribe and share. Thanks so much. So what I'll be doing next is I'm going to be cutting it out on my clothes, on the material. When I cut it out, I'll show you, then we'll continue from there. The sewing process I'll also show you. Let's continue. So guys, after cutting it out, this is what we have. We have our 3 pieces. This is the front, this is also the front, and this is the back. So I have gone ahead to stitch the shoulder together, so we'll be able to see the true picture of what I've been trying to describe. So this is it. Make the down part to be equal. Then can you see, this is the stitch, this is the shoulder, this is our new shoulder here, but where we stitch is coming to the front of it. And the same thing on this side. So this is what I'm trying to talk about. Hope you can see that. So I have to join this shoulder so that we'll be able to measure our neck and draft out our collar. So but before we draft out our collar, this is our 2.5 inches. So before we draft that out, I will fold it in. I will just use a pin to hold it down because we want to measure it. So this is going to be the length of our collar. So we are going to be measuring from here down to this other end here. So guys, to avoid a lengthy video, kindly check out to make a collar on my channel. from that video you get how to see how I make this collar and how I get that shirt too. Thanks for watching. Love you.